CKAD tips number 19. We'll talk about pods and startup probe. In the startup probe, like readiness and liveness probe, syntactically there is no difference, right? However, there is something I need to talk about. Sometimes you have to deal with legacy applications that might require an additional startup time on their first initialization. Most of the classic website works that way. It loads a lot of thing in their session, it takes time. In such cases, it can be tricky to set up liveness probe parameters without compromising the fast response to deadlocks that motivated such probe. The trick is to set up a startup probe with the same command, HTTP or TCP check, because probe works on both, with a failure threshold or period subsecond long enough to cover the worst case startup time, right? So you have to basically do a bit of hidden trial to achieve that time, but imagine that that is something you have to work on, right? So you can probably look at the syntax and based on the application behavior, take a decision on that. So let me show the same YAML file which I have used for both readiness and liveness probe and renamed it to startup.yaml for this demo. And the thing which is different here is only this line number 15, that is startup probe, right? And you can see that rest all remains the same. If you watch my episode number 17 and 18, which basically covers liveness probe and readiness probe, they remain the same. I'm using TCP, that's why you see EXCC. But if you use HTTP, you will use HTTP GET and the port number. But you can do both the checks. So if this is a website, then you will use HTTP probe. But if it's a normal application, then you will use TCP probe. So that's the only difference. So do watch that out in the official documentation. If I say k create -f and I say startup probe, what happens that pod gets created, and once it gets created and I say that I want to watch it, like what is the status, so you can see that there is one pod which is running and then everything looks same. And I just want to say describe pod, and the name of the pod is startup dash pod, and you will see the pod over here, right? You can see that started the container, right? Everything is successful, right? No problem at all. However, just I want to quickly check on the startup option, right? Which says that this is the startup pod command, right? So you can see that it is kind of behaving as expected because there is a startup pod which is checking the file validity within this healthy initial delay is 5 seconds and checks in every 5 seconds, right? So that's the parameter which I set. So everything looks fine. Just again quickly check the definition of the file, initial delay 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds we'll check that out. Right? So hope this was helpful and thank you for watching.